Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me wish you a happy 2022 International Credit Union Day from World Council of Credit Unions. Thank you for joining us for this special ICU Day Empower webinar we are hosting in partnership with Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions. My name is Greg Newman, Director of Communications for World Council. Before we get too far, I want to mention that this webinar has interpretation channels for 3 languages today: English, Spanish, and Ukrainian. If you are an English speaker, be sure to click on the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen. You'll find it at the bottom of your screen, and select English so you can make sure you get English interpretation of our panelists who will be speaking in Ukrainian and Spanish today. Además, el seminario web de hoy tiene canales de interpretación para 3 idiomas: inglés, español y ucraniano. Si habla español, asegúrese de hacer clic en el botón de interpretación en la parte inferior de su pantalla y haga clic en español. And now my colleague Alyssa Stetsishin from our Credit for Agriculture Producers Project in Ukraine is going to give the same message to our Ukrainian language attendees. Alyssa?
Вітаємо вас на вебінарі Всесвітньої ради кредитних спілок. І якщо ви хочете слухати вебінар українською мовою, не забудьте, будь ласка, натиснути на кнопку перекладу внизу екрану та вибрати опцію «Українська мова». Так ви зможете слухати український переклад промов тих наших спікерів, які розмовлятимуть англійською та іспанською мовами. Дякуємо.
Thank you, Alyssa. The theme for this 74th anniversary of International Credit Union Day is Empower Your Financial Future with a Credit Union. We are celebrating by hosting this virtual event featuring panelists from credit unions around the world who will discuss different ways they have empowered the financial futures of their members and employees. Today, we're going to hear from Mike Reuter, Executive Director of Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions, which has organized the Empower campaign to grow credit union impact to over 1 billion lives worldwide. Toby Reganey, Chief Strategy Officer, and Sean Cahill, CEO, both of TrueSky Credit Union in Oklahoma City here in the United States, will be here as well. They are partnering with the Worldwide Foundation on the Empower campaign. We'll also hear today from Vyacheslav Vityuk, CEO of Credit Union PVKS in Ukraine, who has some incredible stories of employee and member empowerment during the war with Russia there. Hector Faro, Deputy Manager of Finansol Credit Union, and Pedro Martinez, a commercial advisor at Finansol, who will appear together to talk about a very uplifting story of empowerment from Peru. And finally, we'll hear from Billy Doyle, CEO of Dundalk Credit Union in Ireland, who will share with us some uplifting news from the Irish credit union sector and briefly discuss how the power of cooperation and organizational purpose can support credit unions on their empowerment journeys. If you have questions that come to mind as you listen to today's webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type them in there. I'll ask some of them to our panelists if time allows at the end of today's event. We do have a packed schedule. I'm now going to turn things over to Mike Reuter, Executive Director of Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions, the engagement and fundraising arm of World Council. He's going to talk about the Empower campaign he's running here for International Credit Union Day. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our credit union colleagues around the world. It's great to be with you for the 74th Annual International Credit Union Day. The Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions took a step forward this year to galvanize stories, support, and awareness for the amazing, impactful international credit union movement that we are all a part of. And we leveraged the theme of Empower Your Financial Future with a credit union this year with our partner TrueSky Credit Union here in Oklahoma City to do just that, to lean in on our cooperative principles, concern for community and cooperation amongst cooperatives to create a greater awareness of the amazing transformational work that credit unions are doing worldwide, changing member and member communities around the world. Empower to date has been raising over $170,000 to support international credit union development projects that the World Council deploys in various areas around the world, serving Venezuelan refugees, supporting Ukrainian members and agricultural producers, and helping start up and sustain gender-led businesses and young entrepreneurial opportunities for members in Latin America, Africa, and other regions around the world. So on behalf of the Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions, we're grateful to each one of the donors that have made a contribution to the Empower campaign. But as we all know, International Credit Union Day has just started. So there's still time to make a donation to the Empower campaign to continue to help fuel the great international development work that the World Council and the Worldwide Foundation do on a daily basis. Before I introduce Toby Reganey and TrueSky Credit Union, I want to give a special thanks to TrueSky. I'm here with Toby and Sean Cahill and their entire team this week in Oklahoma City. Ironically, they're participating in one of our Global Bridges learning and engagement journeys with a Barbados credit union, Barbados Workers Union in Barbados in the Caribbean. And we've spent the last 3 days connecting, talking about technical advancements, sharing shared challenges, and really learning from one another to better sustain and support each of the credit unions in their quest to continue to support and sustain and provide financial inclusion to their member communities. So again, a special thanks to TrueSky, to Toby, to Sean and his entire team that have been incredibly hospitable hosts to us and our Barbados colleagues, who are joined by Anthony Pilgrim, the league president of Barbados, as well as Denise Garfield, the general manager of the Caribbean Confederation for Credit Unions, World Council's Caribbean member. So as part of the Empower campaign, it's not just all about raising money, it's also about creating awareness and sharing member empowerment stories. And we've been able to receive and curate over 30 dynamically unique member empowerment stories. And I'm sure each of you that are participating in this webinar today can hearken to a particular member empowerment story that you know about that has helped your credit union transform member lives around the world. So I want to introduce TrueSky's story, a wonderful story about one of their members' transformation, as well as providing a special message from Sean Cahill, the CEO of TrueSky.
My name is Patty Parker, and I have been with TrueSky Credit Union for around 20 years. They gave me so much information about how to do things, how to get above where I was. Daniel took me back into the room and he started talking to me, and Daniel made me feel like a human being again. I don't think I'd ever do anything without TrueSky Credit Union. You helped me become who I am today.
And again, this is just one of 20 or more videos that the Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions has curated from its global champions around the US as well as internationally to share, again, in the spirit of International Credit Union Day, all of the diverse stories of member empowerment that credit unions are able to facilitate because they lean in heavily to their cooperative principles and the DNA of supporting members and advancing financial inclusion around the world. So the stories, if you want to learn more about or watch any of the dynamic videos, we have them hosted on the World Council's YouTube channel. We have a special International Credit Union Day playlist, as well as on the website of the Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions, doglobalgood.org/empower. And so we also want to share a special message. He wasn't able to be with us today, Sean Cahill, the CEO of TrueSky Credit Union, but we want to share a special message from Sean on behalf of TrueSky to their international partners.
CUNA created Credit Union Day in 1948 as a day of recognition of the impact credit unions made on communities and lives across the United States. Fundraisers, product promotions, and spotlighting industry leaders were and still are common practices on the day itself. With the creation of CUNA's World Extension Department that helped guide the formation of many international credit union systems, leaders from those movements took up the holiday to celebrate in their own unique ways, leveraging their unique cultures. When the World Council was formally created in 1971, WOCU partnered annually with CUNA on developing and encouraging the use of annual ICU Day themes as a moment of reflection to celebrate our collective growth and achievements as a global credit union movement. Beyond celebration, International Credit Union Day is also a rallying cry, an opportunity to learn more about the gaps and challenges we all still face, but that we can overcome collectively, cooperatively, together. A digital gap, such as the one that TrueSky is aiding an international peer credit union from Barbados with, through our participation in the World Council Foundation Global Bridges program. But there are so many other opportunities to learn, share, and engage with a vast credit union global community. TrueSky's board of directors and staff are firmly committed to doing global good with our partners around the world, as many U.S. credit unions currently do. It is a pleasure to give a little back from the blessings the credit union industry has provided all of us. If you aren't already, start using International Credit Union Day as an opportunity to educate your team about the impact credit unions are making around the world, and consider giving back today with a small donation of $10.20, October 20th, 10/20, as well as a time to help make our movement worldwide stronger and more sustainable in the face of a myriad of challenges to our members and their communities. Use the day to move beyond the cookies and punch and educate both employees and members on what credit unions represent around the world. Thank you so much for the opportunity to say a couple of words this morning. And I would like to introduce TrueSky's Chief Strategy Officer, Toby Reganey, to share a little bit more.
Again, a special thank you to Sean Cahill, again, who wasn't able to be with us this morning. But again, to reiterate, TrueSky has been a true host of one of our international credit unions from the Barbados credit union community in the Caribbean, and have really rolled out the red carpet to share their technical expertise, their engagement with the business community, how they serve faith-based communities in Oklahoma City. And Toby has specifically been our liaison, our chaperone throughout the entire week, ferreting us around Oklahoma City, showing us TrueSky's operations. So Toby Reganey, Chief Strategy Officer of TrueSky Credit Union, thank you for joining us. And Toby, just to kick off, want to get some of your kind of initial reactions to the Global Bridges journey that TrueSky is partnering with Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Limited this week, and how that has impacted the leadership team that is engaged with them, as well as talking a little bit about TrueSky's initiatives in empowering your team internally at TrueSky, as well as empowering the member community that you serve in Oklahoma City and throughout Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. To all of my credit union friends and family out there, I want to first of all say a special thank you to Mike and his team over at the Worldwide Foundation of Credit Unions. This has been an extraordinary week. I will say probably now my 26 years of experience in credit unions, this has probably been one of the most rewarding weeks that I've had. So thank you to everyone out there. Would also like to just say that daily, TrueSky continues to change, grow, and transform. We are a credit union that we moved through that transition from a credit union that we has technology to a technology company with purpose. And the reason I share that is because this past week, and really over the last few months, as we have partnered with Barbados, we have really, in my mind, defined what that purpose is, right? And that purpose has been clear as we have continued to partner with them and support the vision of both of our institutions and that of the credit union as a whole, as people helping people. And so TrueSky continues to have an omni-channel approach. We'd like to make sure that our members have choices in how they interact with their credit union. So whether it's through one of our state-of-the-art locations, members coming in, being able to experience and have a conversation with a financial advisor, sitting down in a space that they feel comfortable coming into, whether it's our best-in-class contact center where people can call in and get quick responses to what their needs are, but also through our digital channel. And we have multiple touch points, and it's been very exciting to share the technologies that we have today in our omni-channel with Barbados, and giving the giving them an opportunity to see and really smile upon what is forthcoming in their strategic future as well. So we have video banking for not only members that can come into our locations, but perhaps we have a full lobby. They can utilize our video banking and very quickly make contact with some of our other channels in our back office solutions. But we also have this same solution that members can use via a tablet or a web-based or even on their phones. And then we also have of course, our traditional online banking that is been rolled out for our members now over the last 24 months. That has been very exciting. It's been very well received. But also we have our interactive teller machines, which if you haven't had that experience, if you think of a traditional ATM, we are able now to project images of our tellers or other support teams that will be able to service our members via what would be traditionally over an ATM through video interactions. And it's been very well received here. I was very excited to see the smile that we were able to put on Barbados's face this week. But again, I'd like to say thank you to Barbados. This has really truly been a partnership over the last few months. We've really leaned into each other. We have learned just as much from them, the goodwill and good work that they're doing in Barbados. Mike, I think we've sat around the table for hours and hours now, and it's not gotten stale. It's just you can't wait for the next person to ask the questions and to really lean into that. So, you know, it's great to hear the strategic visions of both institutions and how we can continue to support each other's growth. And the last thing I'd like to share with the group is also something we're very excited about, and Barbados was extremely receptive to, is we have what we call pre-flight here, which is an incubator opportunity for entrepreneurial young business owners that are looking to see, if you think of it from a startup standpoint. And so what we offer here at TrueSky is a shared working space where our members can come in if they're looking to start up a business and maybe perhaps don't know just how to do it or even can't afford to do it. We give them free space for 1 year, offering them not only support from an office standpoint, but also the use of printers and networks and things like that. But really what makes it unique, Mike, as we've shared, is that anybody that utilizes that space also has free access to any of our executives in the organization. So if you need to learn more about marketing, you can sit down with our marketing team. If you need to learn more about how to start up a website, you can go with our technology team. And all of that is free of charge as a cooperative to help young business owners get a leg into their potential future. And so that has been some of the things that we've done this week. Very excited. I could talk, as you know, Mike, for at length, but I will wrap up just by saying that as part of ICU Day, I want to say thank you to everybody for all you do in serving our communities, not only our global partners, but also our credit unions and their space, and continuing to make sure that our grassroots movement is strong. And we thank you, whether I know we do this on a daily basis, but I also want to thank you to all those that have donated and encourage others to do that as well if you haven't. I would also like to say a special thanks to our Gallagher team, David Barak, and also Brad Downs with SRM. They have had a very generous donation over the last few days. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Toby. And again, thank you to Sean and the board of directors of TrueSky, the executive team who have given, I know how busy all the exciting initiatives you guys are doing. So thanks for taking a whole week and spending with us and with our Barbados colleagues who I know are logged into the webinar too. So a special thanks to Zandre Bowen and the BWU team from Barbados for flying out to Oklahoma City. And again, to echo Toby's points, we still have time to contribute and make contributions, $10.20, all the way up to, hopefully, larger contributions to help the World Council continue to grow credit unions around the world. So again, thank you to TrueSky for being a true global champion of the movement. And Greg, I'd love to turn it back to you.
Well, thanks so much, Mike and Toby. I mean, we talk about cooperators cooperating, and what a great example of that with Barbados and TrueSky in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma, in the U.S. here. We're going to shift now all the way from Oklahoma City all the way across the Atlantic to Ukraine, where we all know people have had an unimaginably challenging 2022 with Russia's full-scale invasion of that sovereign nation starting on February 24th. Credit unions have been working hard to stay open, keep serving their members and their communities as well. I am joined now by Vyacheslav Vityuk. He is the CEO of credit union PVKS. They are based in the capital of Kyiv. Vyacheslav, if you could turn your microphone on, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I first have to ask you, this is not a question I anticipated having to ask a week ago, but are you and your employees safe? I know there's been a lot of shelling in the Kyiv region.
Перш за все, дозвольте привітати усіх з Міжнародним днем кредитних спілок, миру усім, злагоди і фінансового процвітання. Щодо безпеки, то важко зараз сказати, де є безпечне місце зараз в Україні, тому умовно можна назвати це ми в безпеці, але лише умовно.
Well, we are very glad to hear that. We know that that electricity is an issue. It's being it's intermittent in some places. It's being rolling blackouts in some places. So, if Vyacheslav does drop off this call somehow, that is probably the reason. I just wanted to preface by saying that. Hopefully, he'll be with us the entire time we talk to him today. I'll start first. I know the early days of the Russian invasion, the full-scale Russian invasion, made your members very nervous. You told me you created a special reserve fund for them. What was that fund set up to do?
Назвемо це так, резервний фонд. Це фактично грошовий резерв, який було диверсифіковано та розміщено на різних рахунках різних банків з метою забезпечення стабільності кредитної спілки у зв'язку із можливістю дострокового повернення коштів вкладників, які через панічні настрої біжать забирати свої грошові вклади. Для більшості членів кредитної спілки це стало, так би мовити, заспокійливим в тому, що кредитна спілка має гроші, і в будь-який момент член кредитної спілки може їх безперешкодно повернути. Тобто це певний такий резервний фонд, скажімо.
I know once things calmed somewhat, you made the decision to resume your agricultural lending to local small farmers with the help of World Council's Credit for Agriculture Producers, or CAP project. You said for one thing it was needed just to get more food in the local grocery stores, correct?
Звичайно, адже селянам, незважаючи на терористичні дії з боку агресора Російської Федерації, необхідно було продовжувати свою роботу у цей посівний період, який відбувся. При цьому всі відчували чіткий сигнал щодо можливих наслідків війни. Зокрема, це порушення логістики, це нестача продовольства через закриття кордонів, втрата території. При цьому внаслідок бойових дій та обстрілів на сході, півдні, Києві, Західній Україні, безпосередньо, де працює кредитна спілка, зросла і кількість переселенців суттєво. І як наслідок збільшився попит на продовольчі товари. Як наслідок селянам необхідно було збільшувати посіви поголів'я, щоб задовольнити поточні потреби як місцевого населення, так і переселенців. Звичайно, таке збільшення потребувало і додаткових фінансових ресурсів. Тому пропозиція і допомога проєкту КЕП була дуже вчасною і необхідною, за що ми дуже вдячні проєкту.
And can you describe a little bit how the CAP project assisted you in those efforts, and what did it mean for the local farmers to have this type of support, the type you just mentioned, and the type provided by the CAP project?
Для селян така підтримка означала наступне: це доступність умов, це швидкість прийняття рішення по видачі фінансових кредитів, це можливість отримання додаткових благ для селян. Ну, зокрема, програма компенсації частини кредиту, покриття витрати на паливо, яке їм необхідне і якого бракувало доволі таки довгий період часу. Що дуже допомогло їм, а також стало додатковим стимулом працювати і вселило впевненість, що про селянина не забули і не залишили його сам на сам із боргами. І ще й в цей час допомагали. Тому сам проект КЕП, можна сказати, навіть і відзначити, що завдяки багаторічній співпраці з проектом КЕП нам вдалося, особисто нам вдалося зовсім по-іншому підійти до самої роботи з селянами, яка наразі стала одним із самих пріоритетних напрямків нашої роботи. Тому що завдяки проекту КЕП, зокрема його навчанню, тренінгам, підтримці, ми змогли більш якісно і професійно вивчити доходи селян, сферу його діяльності, розуміти його потреби, що йому потрібно. Тому для нас головною цінністю, якою з нами поділився проект КЕП, є знання, навики, що дає нам змогу спостерігати за результатом нашої роботи і, відповідно, успіхами наших селян.
You had also mentioned to me that you didn't just empower people through the traditional functions of the credit union, but also through some humanitarian assistance that was made possible by the chair of your board. Can you describe what some of that humanitarian assistance was?
Звичайно ж, сутність кредитної спілки закладена в певну соціальну складову. З перших днів війни голова спостережної ради Володимир Дзьобак швидко переорієнтував свої проекти, такі як благодійний фонд «Добрі справи», етнопарк Ладомир'я і інші проекти на соціальну підтримку переселенців. Організували щось на кшталт гуманітарного хабу, в якому люди могли знайти не тільки матеріальну підтримку у речах, харчах, пошуку притулку, а й емоційну підтримку та піклування, що особливо важливо, зокрема, для дітей у ці складні часи.
I want to talk to you about your employees. You really never stopped working at your credit union, and carrying on with that work during the war has got to be difficult. Did you provide any services to them as well to either help with the mental strain, with finances, anything like that?
Так, війна в Україні торкнулася в певній мірі кожного, незалежно від місця бойових дій. Не виключення і працівники кредитної спілки. Деякі працівники наразі воюють з агресором, у когось рідні зараз на війні. І, звісно, емоційний стан людей дуже напружений. Проте ми намагалися організувати колектив і роботу, виходячи з реальної ситуації. Зокрема, слухати, спілкуватися одним з одним. Наприклад, ми проводили щоденні онлайн-зустрічі, спільно вирішували робочі ситуації, поточні питання. До речі, завдяки проекту КЕП нам була надана можливість залучити до нашого колективу професійного психолога, що дуже позитивно і вплинуло на емоційний стан колективу в цілому. Всі моменти роботи з колективом, взаємодопомогу і підтримку складно насправді описати словами. Мабуть, кращим результатом для цього є те, що люди з нас сьогодні працюють, а кредитна спілка продовжує обслуговувати наших членів.
International Credit Union Day in Ukraine, previous to 2022, was always a joyous celebration. I know that our CAP project work with credit unions, do a lot of fun activities. I have to imagine that's not the case this year. What is International Credit Union Day like in Ukraine in 2022?
Ну, на жаль, цього року цей день, як і всі інші, не несе такого святкового настрою. Ну і причина, звісно, в цьому війна. Тому ми обмежуємося скромними привітаннями для працівників та наших членів кредитної спілки, які завітали до нас. Але ми віримо, що після нашої перемоги і над нещадним агресором ми зможемо святкувати не тільки День кредитних спілок, а й інші свята, і розвиватися, і рухатися вперед. Тому чекаємо перемоги.
Well, Vyacheslav, I think you've probably given everybody who is on today's webinar in attendance, I know for myself, a lot to think about, a lot to be grateful for. And we wish you the best, and we hope that Ukraine does not have to go through what it is right now for much longer, and that in 2023 we'll all be joining to celebrate, truly celebrate International Credit Union Day together. So thank you so much for taking some time. Please be safe, and we will talk to you again soon.
Щиро дякую. Щиро дякую усім. Миру всім.
All right. Vyacheslav Vytuki is the CEO of Credit Union PVKS in Kyiv, Ukraine. We're going to travel to the other side of the world now for a very hopeful story down to South America, and more specifically Peru. I'm joined by Hector Faro. He is the Deputy Manager of Finansol Credit Union, and also Pedro Martinez, who is a commercial advisor at Finansol. And gentlemen, if you could turn your cameras on for me and your microphones, we welcome and thank you both for being here this morning. And I see Pedro, and I think Hector's coming on now as well, so great. Well, Pedro, Hector, good morning. Pedro, I want to ask you first. Good morning. Pedro, I want to ask you first, you emigrated to Peru from Venezuela in 2018. Tell us about your journey to get to Peru from Venezuela. What was your profession in your home country, and why did you feel you had to leave to start again?
Hola, muy buenos días. Gracias por la invitación. Sí, yo soy venezolano, trabajaba como profesor universitario, comenzando como instructor de tiempo completo y era asesor de tesis en mi país. En vista de la situación económica que se fue presentando por diversos motivos, básicamente de carácter político, me vi la necesidad de emigrar de mi país, viendo a Perú como una opción. Por supuesto que cuando yo llegué a este país, pues tuve que dedicarme a otras actividades no relacionadas con mi trabajo original. De hecho, en oportunidad también tuve que trabajar en trabajos informales, como vendedor ambulante, y realizando otro tipo de actividades no relacionadas con las que yo venía acostumbrado a trabajar, ni tampoco relacionadas con mi profesión.
We fast forward to 2022. You're now working for Finansol, a credit union in Lima. How did you find out about that opportunity?
Esta oportunidad de trabajo para mí fue muy importante por el hecho de que antes de trabajar en Finansol ya yo había conseguido trabajar como asesor financiero. El tema era que eran empresas tercerizadas, en algunos casos no se cumplían con los beneficios laborales, no había ningún tipo de trato justo, a diferencia de Finansol y el programa de empleabilidad que logró o permitió que nosotros obtuviéramos un empleo de calidad en el cual pudiéramos hacer una línea de carrera en la cual nos sintiéramos como cualquier ciudadano del mundo y en el cual nosotros también podamos ejercer nuestra profesión de una manera digna.
I want to switch to you, Hector. You hired Pedro through the WOKU Economic Inclusion Project's employability program, but you made a conscious decision to have Finansol partner with the project. Why was that important to you?
En primer lugar, saludo a todos ustedes en el Día Internacional de las Cooperativas de Ahorro y Crédito. Escuchar los mensajes de quienes ya tuvieron la oportunidad de exponer nos ratifica una vez más nuestro compromiso de seguir dando servicios financieros, de empoderar a las personas, a las comunidades en todas las latitudes del mundo. Con respecto a Pedro pasó un proceso de selección importante, igual que cualquier otro ciudadano, y encontramos en él cualidades personales que se pondrían al servicio de la organización. En segundo lugar, como lo indicó Pedro, le ofrecemos una línea de carrera al interior de la institución. Para nosotros el proyecto desarrollado con WOCU es muy importante. Va a ser mucho más importante en el futuro en el sentido que estamos instalando nuevas habilidades, nuevos canales de servicio que nos van a permitir ampliar los servicios financieros a la comunidad migrante, en particular a los hermanos venezolanos. Lo he dicho en otras oportunidades. En Perú, en la década de 1980, hubo una corriente migratoria de Perú hacia a Venezuela. Hoy día tenemos como país la oportunidad de devolver ese esfuerzo que hizo Venezuela a incorporar a connacionales de Perú. Postulamos que a través de esta integración de personal también promovamos la promoción, el intercambio cultural entre nuestros dos países. Esto es difícil, sí, es muy difícil, dadas las condiciones económicas, sociales, políticas sobre todo también, pero ese es el reto, ¿no? Y aspiramos que más de 1 millón de ciudadanos migrantes se incorporen a la economía, se incorporen a la vida social y cultural de este país.
So Hector, do you hope to hire more Venezuelan professionals in the future?
Sí, la respuesta es afirmativa y, como decimos aquí, sin duda ni murmuraciones.
Pedro, tell me about your job at Finanso. What specifically do you do there for the credit union?
En esta oportunidad yo estoy trabajando como asesor comercial, asesor de crédito. Mi función principalmente es colocar créditos, hacer seguimiento y recuperación. Pero unado a eso, en la relación que tiene con Finansol como aliado del Consejo Mundial de Cooperativas y el proceso de inclusión financiera, lo más grato de mi trabajo es que nosotros permitimos la inclusión de personas que no tienen acceso al sistema financiero formal, bien sea por situación económica o por desconocimiento, tanto a personas de nacionalidad peruana, pero también a muchos venezolanos que hemos venido incorporando a través de ciertas jornadas y la participación de algunas ONG. Nosotros participamos como comunidad comprometida con este proceso de inclusión. Y para mí es muy satisfactorio que muchos de mis compañeros, de mis connacionales, poderlos impulsar en sus proyectos a través de créditos básicamente respaldados por sus empleos estables en el Perú o a través de sus emprendimientos. Entonces son historias de vida que vamos compartiendo y acompañando a través de créditos. De hecho, tenemos algunos venezolanos que van por un cuarto crédito, porque la modalidad de la cooperativa es mucho más flexible que la banca tradicional, y le permite en corto plazo cumplir con sus compromisos y lograr metas a corto plazo que le permiten tener grandes negocios actualmente en el Perú.
Just a final question for you, Pedro. What has this opportunity meant to you personally, to you, your family?
Mira, esta oportunidad es muy importante para mí porque en cierta forma es es materializar parte del sueño que uno viene a realizar en el exterior. Para mi familia es muy significativo, perdón, porque permite en cierta forma demostrar que fue una decisión acertada salir de nuestro país y dejar toda una vida para comenzar. Pero creo que es una bonita reflexión, una experiencia de vida que le queda no nada más a mi familia y a conocidos, sino también a muchos venezolanos, a muchos compatriotas que sienten desesperanza, que sienten que es imposible desarrollarse en otra sociedad. Quizás soy un ejemplo o un muy buen ejemplo, modestia aparte, para demostrar que dentro de las limitantes que hay en una sociedad y que nosotros somos migrantes, hay la posibilidad de crecer y de desarrollarse profesionalmente. Y también creo que es importante que este tipo de programas se mantengan, porque ciertamente hay personas, por ejemplo, en el caso mío muy particular, que yo tenía una línea, yo sabía que venía, pero en algún momento sentí desesperanza, en algún momento me sentí desmotivado, y creo que este programa impulsó en mí esa luz que muchas de nuestros compatriotas necesitan.
Thank you both so much. When I think about empowerment, your story and really Vyacheslav's story as well, that's really to me what the whole theme of this year's International Credit Union Day is all about: empowering employees, empowering members to really improve their lives and their financial futures through credit unions. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you so much, Hector. I really appreciate your time today. I will now hand it back to Mike Reuter, who is going to chat with our final panelist of the day. He's Billy Doyle, CEO of Dundalk Credit Union in Ireland. He's joining us to provide an Irish update and their perspective on International Credit Union Day. Mike?
Thank you, Greg. And again, I want to welcome our distinguished guest from the country of Ireland, Mr. Billy Doyle, CEO of Dundalk Credit Union in the northeast section of Ireland, about an hour's drive from Dublin. I had the true pleasure and opportunity after the World Credit Union Conference this July to be invited by Billy and his team at Dundalk as part of a Global Bridges journey to learn more about Dundalk's empowering work in how they're engaging the community in Dundalk, as well as their members of Dundalk itself. But Billy, I know, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Good afternoon, good evening in Ireland. You wanted to first share some uplifting breaking news from the Irish sector, so I wanted to invite you to share some words.
Thank you, Mike. And good afternoon. I'm delighted to say from sunny Dundalk here in the northeast of Ireland on this International Credit Union Day. And International Credit Union Day, Mike, it sees a myriad of events taking place across credit unions right across the island of Ireland, including some here in the Dundalk office in Market Street. But yes, I think appropriate on the day that's in it that I might begin our conversation by sharing some really positive breaking news from an Irish credit union sector perspective that was announced this week. And I suppose it's very much around that Irish credit unions have achieved first place in Ireland's customer experience report list for the 8th consecutive year. And I suppose that's a display of dominance, which the company that carried out the research and compiles the report described as being unheard of in any other market in the world. So it was, I suppose, a really positive boost to everybody involved in the credit union sector here in Ireland. Excuse me. But I suppose, Mike, as we've touched and spoken about this before, such trust brings responsibility with it, and particularly in the Irish sector context, that responsibility is very much revolves around perhaps repaying and honouring and leveraging that trust, in the form of a broader, deeper, more digitally enabled range of products and services that members can avail of at their local credit union, and particularly at a time when quite a number of Ireland's main banks are very much withdrawing from local communities. And I suppose, again, from a positive perspective, I think I can point to success on that journey and that pathway, for Irish credit unions and across the sector. essentially maybe specifically both at an individual local credit union level, but then again, very importantly, at a sector level. I suppose, Mike, at a local credit union individual level, credit unions across the country are working very hard at embracing digitalization, trying to embrace standardization, and to, on their own or as part of broader groups, to broaden and develop the range of services that members can access from their local credit union. But I think very importantly, that sort of collaborative effort and progress at a local or an individual or a credit union group level, is being very much supported as well by collaborative efforts and progress at a sector level. And as I said, an ability to leverage the collective is obviously something that is very important. And what we've seen recently is the continued development of a mortgage QSO that will allow access and participation from all credit unions across the island of Ireland. We've also heard only this week of a planned link up between the two main payment services organisations in Ireland into one, perhaps unified payment services company, again, with membership and access open to credit unions across the country, with a very stated aim of, again, providing an enhanced degree of payment service capability to each credit union. We have an insurance type QSO that is up and running, allowing credit unions to access a range of insurance services through their local and individual credit union. And again, that's gaining traction. And I think, again, perhaps maybe above all as well, and importantly, we've seen an increased degree of collaboration at a representative body level, where the two main representative bodies, the Irish League of Credit Unions and CUDA, are collaborating and cooperating on quite a number of projects, which again is good from a sector perspective. So I suppose, Mike, as we discuss and chat here on International Credit Union Day from an Irish perspective, while obviously challenges might remain, getting up our loan asset ratios to some of the figures that we know our American colleagues enjoy is one of them. There are definitely positive signals. There's definitely a sense of optimism in that, we can better leverage the collective power of the sector to support individual credit unions in empowering the financial future of our growing membership. So a lot to be positive of from an Irish perspective, Mike, at this juncture.
Absolutely, Billy. You talk about empowerment on so many different levels across the Irish sector, from Dundalk, specifically at a credit union level, collaboration amongst different credit unions to join and create new QSOs to provide, again, maximum empowerment through different financial services. And then at a much larger national level too, with the different league bodies and association bodies as well. So it's a tremendous representation of how a national system like in Ireland comes together to collectively empower their members. And I know, Billy, that empowering the wider community is one of the values of Dundalk, and it's a key pillar in your strategic plan. And I know that you and your team have prepared just a brief several-minute video, and we want to cue that up right now to kind of demonstrate visually some of the great work Dundalk is doing to empower your members in your community.
Great.
Our Financial Wellbeing Schools programme, Clued In, continued its rollout in secondary schools across County Louth, creating valuable life skills for our students as they plan for their education and their careers. In tandem, our peer education programme continues to equip our secondary school students with sound decision-making skills around substance abuse, bullying, and maintaining positive mental health. In June 2021, as part of Dundalk Credit Union's ongoing commitment to grassroots youth sports and community development, we were delighted to announce a 3-year sponsorship agreement with the Dundalk Schoolboys League, an established and integral part of sports development within our wider community. We look forward to working together with the League to showcase the importance of team motivation and focus. In August, we kicked off a 3-year sponsorship agreement with the Louth Schoolgirls League, helping to support the emerging talent squads and offering the already ambitious and inspiring Louth Schoolgirls League an opportunity to further strengthen and to achieve their strategic plans for their players, coaches, and managers into the future. This sponsorship is something we're very proud of on behalf of our members, and we're delighted that it will ensure girls across County Louth can see it and be it in football. In the summer, we supported the Irish Water Safety Louth Swim Week in Giles Quay, teaching children and young adults invaluable life-saving and well-being skills for life. In September 2021, DKIT and Louth Ladies Gaelic Football Association launched a new scholarship programme co-funded by Dundalk Credit Union and DKIT. The programme provides scholarships to a number of Louth Ladies Gaelic Football Association minor and senior players pursuing a third-level qualification in DKIT. This helped us show our support of ladies football on and off the pitch. In October 2021, Dundalk Credit Union showed its support for the vital role Family Addiction Support Network plays within our community by becoming primary sponsor of their fundraising 5K Family and Fun Run. Even with the restrictions of COVID, the event proved to be a huge community show of support for the Family Addiction Support Network and the vital support they provide for families in crisis because of a loved one's addiction.
Together with Dundalk Credit Union, we can keep our doors open and ongoing support for families in crisis across County Louth.
In September 2021, in partnership with Dundalk Lions Club, we installed life-saving paediatric and adult cardiac defibrillators in 3 locations across Dundalk. The team at Excel Signs and ICIP Limited provided all the design and installation services throughout and were a tremendous support. Training was also provided to a number of volunteers. We would like to thank the business owners at Maxall on the Avenue Road, Applegreen on the Carrick Road, and Londis on Key Street for their support.
We supported the hard work and dedication of the Cuchulainn Blood Bank volunteers, who deliver life-saving blood, milk and medical supplies across our region out of hours. We supported Cuidiú Linn to continue their community work for the elderly and vulnerable. We supported Meals on Wheels as they prepare and deliver meals to those in need throughout our community. We supported Masks for Louth as their volunteer sewists make masks for our frontline workers and vulnerable members of our community.
It's a tremendous video, Billy. Thank you again for all the empowering work that you're doing with so many different constituents throughout the Dundalk community. And I'm really excited to continue on behalf of the foundation. We're obviously continuing excited to facilitate the Global Bridges journey between you and Financial Center Credit Union in Indianapolis, Indiana. I know we only have a minute or so left to talk today. So maybe do you want to just give just a high-level overview of Dundalk Strategic Plan and how that connects into Empower?
Yeah, okay, Mike. Again, I'll just be brief. As you say, our new strategic plan, together, let's create a better tomorrow. I suppose by way of a brief context, I've already mentioned about credit unions making significant progress in the area of providing additional financial products and services. But as Filing have pointed out in their excellent recent report, Community Social Impact, the urgency of now, in today's disrupted world, perhaps credit unions can and should seek to do more. And we feel perhaps should set their ambition higher than the mere provision of banking services. And I suppose, Mike, in that sense, and it's part of the context again of our strategic plan, there's an opportunity, we feel, and maybe indeed an obligation on ourselves, on credit unions, to leverage our resources, our platform, our unique credit union philosophy of mutuality, community, and social impact to empower and engage members and the broader community to come together to try to address some of the challenges of the 21st century. So I suppose, our plan very much in that context looks at embracing that challenge and, indeed that opportunity. It's built, Mike, as I've outlined to you previously, around two key elements. First of all, kind of reconnecting, revitalizing, and indeed even reimagining, the purpose and the values and the role and potential of credit unions in today's world. And I suppose then asking, how can we leverage the full power of mutuality and engage our members and the wider community in the area of financial well-being, community resilience, circular local economic development, and importantly, environmental sustainability. Providing a first-class range of products and services will still be very much part of what we plan to do. It's just that we don't particularly wish to be seen, or our staff or our members to view that as being our raison d'etre, our core purpose. We very much see that as being more centered on social impact and community impact. I suppose, a few concluding remarks on it. There's some very good work being done already across the credit union sector in this space. Domestically here in Ireland, the North Credit Union, the oldest credit union in the country, are taking a lead very much in that area of community impact and social reporting. Nave Brendon in Galway are doing some very good pioneering work, showing how credit unions can lead the transition to net zero in a local setting. And as we heard, I think at the WACU conference in Glasgow, some very uplifting testimony from our colleagues in Hawaii about the way in which they were deploying some regenerative local economic techniques in their area. So, that's the direction we plan to go in, Mike. There's a lot of research, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of member engagement still to happen. But at a time, and I suppose I'll conclude with this, at a time when, a lot of for-profits organizations are pledging allegiance to ESG and to the green agenda, however real that may be. We strongly feel that credit unions have an opportunity to carve out a very authentic, strategic, competitive position in what is a fairly highly disrupted, competitive financial services market. And not only carve out that position, but deliver real and tangible benefits for the members in the community. And as I say, achieve a longer term financial sustainability for themselves. So exciting times. And I think it's something that the sector internationally is looking at as well. And we're delighted to be part of.
No, Billy, we echo your remarks 100%. I think climate, as we continue to move forward as an international movement, climate and climate finance, and how we play a role as credit unions in the climate crisis is going to be paramount in the weeks and the months and the years to come. So, Billy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the great work you're doing with Dundalk and the Dundalk community in Ireland, and look forward to continue the Global Bridges journey with you.
Lovely, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Billy. Greg, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mike. What a great work Dundalk is doing, especially in the area of climate. That's something that the World Council is going to be really focused on going forward, climate resilience, sustainable finance. And so it's great to see a credit union getting ahead of the curve on that. We don't have any questions, but before we let you go today, just a reminder, you can still donate to Worldwide Foundation's Empower campaign. If you use your phone, you can scan the QR code on this slide and get a link to the donation page. And again, $10.20 if you're an individual. It's a 10/20 International Credit Union Day this year, October 20th. So leave it up here for a minute so you can get it scanned if you'd like. I also want to remind you, today's webinar was recorded. It will be available later today on the World Council YouTube channel. You can find that at youtube.com/woku. Again, that'll be available probably later this afternoon. And if anyone you know of wanted to see it today and couldn't find it, you can find it there. And since it is International Credit Union Day, if you want to hear a deep dive discussion about the status of credit unions around the world, World Council's newly released 2021 statistical report features a lot of expanded first-time data on things like credit union priorities and risks, product and service offerings from around the world, taxation, and more. And you can hear all about that. We're doing a deep dive into the World Council 2021 statistical report on the most recent episode of the Global Credit Union podcast that just dropped late last night. You can find that episode by going to anchor.com/woku. That's anchor.fm. Anchor.fm/woku. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Be sure to tag all your social media posts today with hashtag ICU Day 2022. We're going to share them on our Woku platforms as well. Have a great rest of your International Credit Union Day.